Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we have 4 playoff props here for you guys on Tuesday night slate, where we have 3 playoff games to choose from. We also have a best bets video up for you, so make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Check out the other bunch of picks that we have for you on the night. Also want you to head to thelines.com. You can check out all of the great written content we have up there, including these player props that we're throwing on the site for you guys. And you can use that odds finder tool that we have for you. Make sure you're getting the best odds across all these books that are giving us bets in the NBA this season. We don't know how we did on Monday night because we are getting ahead of these lines, recording for you guys on Tuesday, but I think we feel pretty good about the picks. So let's just assume that we hit it at least a 75% clip and run right into your first NBA playoff prop for the night, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, this has something to do with the pick in the best bets, which is Kevin Durant and Devin Booker to both score 25 plus. I'm looking at KD 33.5 points and assists. It's minus 108 at MGM. Pretty good odds there. And I will also throw in maybe even more confident. I think I will go 1.5 units for this big spike here, plus 115 at FanDuel for him to hit 3 threes. Something he's done in 6 straight home playoff games, hitting 3.3 at a 42% clip, also averaging 32 points per game, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, doing what he does to carry that Nets team that was missing guys, or, guys were just out to lunch, whatever you want to say. It is a different situation now with the Suns as he continues to try to kind of fit in. And it was a bit awkward there in their first playoff situation where it was just like, all right, who's the closer? Because you really have a 1A and 1A option with Book and KD. But so only a 20.5% usage rate for Kevin Durant. He still scored 27 points. And he only got 1 field goal attempt down the stretch in 9 minutes because Kawhi Leonard was face guarding him, basically. And, the Clippers mixed things up. They wanted to use him. I mean, Ty Lue, it seemed like it's kind of an ace in a hole. All right, we're going to go to Kawhi on KD down the stretch. That's going to be the difference. Kawhi won't show you any emotion, but he has to be gassed after doing that on Sunday. For this to only have 1 day of rest, it's almost like a back-to-back in the playoffs. And how often have we seen Kawhi Leonard play like 27 minutes and then the Clippers just wave the white flag? They got what they needed here in Phoenix. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of weird pulling of the chair. I know this is the playoffs and not the regular season, but they still manage things. This is their MO, Josh. I don't want to hear about Kawhi going over, but go ahead. Tell me why you think he's going to duel.
You're going to sit there and you're going to take it. No, yes, we are definitely deferring in our theories about how this next game is going to go. I will say, why do you sit? Why do you sit? He sits to play right now, and that's what kind of my pick is. I'll just move on to my Kawhi pick because I also have another one, but I'll start there because it is relevant here, and it's relevant to the theory you're talking about. Where, first of all, I'm not even gonna touch that. He's gonna play 38 minutes at least, maybe 40. So that's gonna happen because that's why he rests is for this moment, and he started to ramp that up at the very end of the regular season just to get a few games under his belt without PG in there playing that many minutes because he played at least 36 minutes in the last 4 games of the season, which is when he also went off. And his last 4 games of the regular season, including this last one, his last 5, all without Paul George, 31 a game, 8.5 boards, and 4.5 assists in 38 minutes to get ready for that with the 30% usage to get ready for the 30% usage that he put out there in game 1. Yeah, Kawhi is out there having to guard KD at this point as well because really there's nobody else on the team that's been able to do any nearly as good of a job, and that's going to continue to be the case. I mean, even KD has a great interview talking about Kawhi, who's the best defender in the league according to him, who can guard everybody, as KD says, except for me, because he is 7 feet tall and can shoot over him. That's why his 20% usage rate, like you talked about, still afforded him. He still got 27 points out of that, and he'll continue to be able to do that. But I think that 20% usage rate also has to be taken into consideration because of Kawhi being out there and ball hawking him and sort of face guarding him, which you talked about a little bit as well. But I'm going to take Kawhi's points and assists in this one, Nate, for his prop, which is over 36.5, and I can get minus 102 on FanDuel with that pick. I think, one of the first things I'm talking about here is he was kind of right, maybe, to take off all that time during the regular season, so he'd be ready for right now, so he could just go bonkers. And I kind of already told you about what he did in the end of the regular season to get ready for this. And if you look at his last 3 playoff games, I mean, I know I have to go all the way back to a couple seasons ago when he got hurt for all that time against Utah, and they ended up winning without him. But in the last 2 versus Utah plus this one, so his last 3 overall, 34 a game and 8 boards, and then 4.5 assists there. I should be clear, I meant the boards. I want the points and rebounds is what's over 36.5 for him. I feel better about that than the assists in this one. I do not see him facilitating. They're going to have to really force that ball out of his hands, as he did, like I said, had that 30% usage rate where, I mean, to be fair to Monty Williams, there were some double teams on Kawhi and they did really get it out of his hands, but there was a decent amount of ball movement. And like, say what you want about Russell Westbrook, but eventually he stopped shooting after going 3 for 19 from the field, or at least enough to be able to, just focus on his hustle plays and get the ball over to Kawhi, or at least around the perimeter, so that it either ends up in his hands or hopefully Eric Gordon's hands, or if worst comes to worst, it's in Zubac's hands for his one-on-one matchup with Ayton that he did super well with. Trey Mann, not Trey Mann, sorry. Who am I thinking of?
Terrence Mann.
Terrence Mann. I'm brain farting all over the place. Terrence Mann, not to be confused with Trey Mann on the Thunder, missed a ton of shots, which is another reason I don't feel comfortable taking any kind of assist prop for Kawhi or anybody else that's going to have the ball in their hands a ton. But I like his points, and I like what he does when he has to guard KD, where he's going to be in there getting a ton of minutes, and has done that a lot. Over the past 7 times that they've played each other, he's averaging 34 a game in those games against KD. So he obviously likes playing against him, guards him a lot, doesn't get bothered by it. So I'm going to go ahead and take Kawhi actually in the over in this one.
Yeah, the spacing is just going to be abysmal. When you have Terrence Mann and Russell Westbrook on the floor at the same time and a center, I just don't understand. The Suns played really good defense other than just lapsing and letting Kawhi shoot down the stretch. And he had a monster game. That's why you rest, yes, so you can come out in game 1 on long rest and just look like an absolute superstar. But can he do that after one day off? Does he need to do that? Or is he going to prepare? The Clippers have home court advantage now. Yeah, are they going to need him to be rested and on at the height of his powers in game 3? Because he is the franchise, right? There's no Paul George probably for this entire series. There's almost nothing on offense to scare you other than Norman Powell, who, by the way, I do like 15 points for Norman Powell because of that. Okay. I think he will be playing more and Westbrook will continue to shoot less. But I'm going to move on from this one. We'll do a bet of 6-pack there on Kawhi going under that total. But I'm going under here with Julius Randle, ya boy, because he's playing on a bum ankle to a degree, but also just because it's a really tough matchup for him against double rim protectors, Mobley and Jared Allen. We remember what happened in the playoffs last 2 years ago after his huge most improved season. He only averaged 18 points per game on, 30% field goal shooting against the Hawks. Never got above 23 points. And that's where his prop is at here, 23.5 points, minus 113 at FanDuel. He had 19 points in game 1, despite shooting 20 times on that bum ankle, 7 for 20. He did blow up for 36 points against the Cavs on January 24th. Shot 8 for 12 from 3. That's just a complete anomaly. I don't think with one ankle bothering him, he's going to get many good looks from 3 or be able to hit them. His previous 5 against the Cavs, 17 points per game, 30% from 3, an offensive rating below 100. And I think this really just dovetails into why we both like Jalen Brunson again, because as long as the Cavs don't necessarily make the move to put Evan Mobley on Jalen Brunson, there's nobody who's going to guard him. And I'm kind of interested why they don't do that. I think he's quick enough to bother him and are very rangy. I would do that because I think you can still guard Jared Allen with Randle. But right now it's Mobley on Randle, and that's going to limit him and force Jalen Brunson to pick up even more of the slack, just like he did in game 1.
Yeah. Jay Randle was fine on defense against Mobley and played really well in that sense, mostly just by keeping him from being able to get to the spots on the floor that he felt comfortable. But on the other end of the floor, Evan Mobley's defense is still awesome, and he's hard to move in that sense, even for Julius Randle when he's able to sort of set himself against Jay Randle backing him down. Randle doesn't really have the ability to back him down right now. I think it's a little bit more contact than he and his ankle would like to undertake. So it makes sense that he's going to keep shooting threes, which he's done poorly as of late as well, which I believe we talked about in the last 10 games of the season for Jay Randle that he's played anyway, under 30% from deep, still taking 10 threes. So I would feel good about Mobley being able to get out on him over there. And yeah, the turnovers, man, 5 turnovers for him last game, and something that he'll continue to struggle with as he forces things. I was happy to see as a Knicks fan that he deferred a bit more in the second half. Like, might as well just go ahead and do that as well, because to be honest, there was a lot of wasted possessions at times, and fewer than Randle has given us at times this year. But there's an opportunity to be even more efficient, especially if Jay Brunson's on the floor and not getting into foul trouble like he did in this last game, which is why I think he's good to go over again. And if there's a couple ways you could play him. You could get 24.5 points for him. It's minus 120 on DraftKings, which is not as good as a little bit more juice, minus 113 on FanDuel. But you add a point there, he needs to get 26 in that sense. I think he's still good for it. I think he's good for closer to the 27. I think that's the 26.5 would be a better, more fair, if you will, prop for Jay Brunson tonight. So I'm happy to go over what they're giving us here. Let's just start with what he's done in 4 career playoff games without Luka playing, where he played 3 with the Mavs, 31 a game, 4.5 assists there. Then he just had the 27 points the other night with a couple assists and a couple boards as well. He's also just loves playing Donovan Mitchell. In the last 10 games that they've played each other, which includes the playoffs last year, where he was getting plenty of second unit minutes, and then he got back on the floor as well for those first unit minutes with Luka and the Mavs. But he was cooking, man, and it was a one-on-one matchup in Utah as well with he and Donnie, just like it was in Cleveland, where they guarded each other for about 5 minutes each. And in those last 27 points a game for Jay Brunson here, with 4.5 assists, 3.5 boards, and a 31% usage rate. But that was up to 39 in game 1, and I think you could expect that in the second half. It was up to about 40% because he wasn't really able to play much in the first half, and in the fourth quarter especially, it was 47%. He was taking half the team's shots. He had 9 points in 9 minutes in that game as well, in the fourth quarter of that game as well, because he's going to continue to be the clutch man for them. I also just wanted to quickly mention how much he loves playing with Josh Hart. And so there's, as someone who hates to watch this stifled Knicks offense when they really don't have another offensive weapon like Emmanuel Quickly on the floor, as someone who can create offense, I'm happy with Josh Hart to be taking those minutes from him. And if Quentin Grimes is going to be a better defender on Donovan Mitchell than any other option, then you got to keep him out there. But main point being, like, without Quickly, he's going to be the go-to guy and the playmaker. Loves playing with Josh Hart. When they were on the floor together in game 1 in 18 minutes, the Knicks had 139 offensive rating in those 18 minutes, and they would have spent more time together if Brunson didn't miss so much of the first half. So 27 a game also over the last 15, which is the time since Josh Hart joined for Brunson. They love playing together. They have since they won 2 championships in college, and it's a great addition to the team. The reason that I'm going to continue to take Brunson's points.
He's just got so much in his bag, man. It's so impressive to watch him work, and it's just like I said, it's a matchup that the Cavs don't have an answer for, where they have an answer for a lot of other big wings or forwards or centers, but it's just they haven't been able to do anything with JB. He had a career high 48 against them in March. Donnie Mitchell coming right back. Yeah, they're gonna duel each other down the stretch. It's the only way the Knicks are gonna be able to score consistently, especially if Randle continues to look hobbled.
Yeah, that's gonna be it, because it's either crash the offensive boards to get those second chance points again, or he's gonna have to continue to make shots at the clip that he did in that second half. So that is all the time we have for you in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Check out our best bets video as well from the Tuesday night slate in these playoffs. And until we see you next, happy betting.